backhoe, grader, an excavator, a tunnel boring machine.
The diesel engine was invented around the end of the 1800s, and Rudolf Diesel was the inventor, thus the name diesel.
It's basically an internal combustion engine thermal conversion device that converts thermal energy into mechanical energy.
Originally, that diesel engine that he invented, he wanted it to run on soybean oil, which is basically a renewable fuel, a biofuel.
And then there's no spark plug to ignite it, unlike in a gasoline spark ignition engine. And it's the compression of the piston in the cylinder that generates enough heat to cause the fuel to explode.
Everything that's a heavy-duty piece of equipment or heavy-duty truck or diesel.
Diesel engines transport about 94% of all the freight in this country. They're durable and reliable and powerful, and they actually save people money.
So that's why most businesses use diesel engines versus gas engines, because they have a lot lower maintenance costs and they last a long time.
The diesel is the workhorse of our industry for certain.
Diesel exhaust is a complex mixture of gases and particles. There's at least 40 elements within that mix that are known to be or suspected to be human carcinogens. Things like benzene and formaldehyde, 1,3-butadiene, and other chemical compounds.
Diesel emissions contain particulate matter that is very small in size. It's a source of fine particulate that 95% is less than 1 micron, and a human hair is 75 microns in diameter. Those little particles go down deep into your lungs and don't ever come back out again.
Particulate matter is really, it's a far bigger deal, I think, than anybody ever thought. There's all sorts of defenses that you have to filter out those larger particles. But with the fine particles, they evade all of those natural systems and end up in the tiny air sacs way down in your lungs where they don't really come out, and they can do, permanent tissue damage and cause a whole other variety of problems.
And to make it worse, there are a lot of toxic parts of diesel that absorb onto the surface of those particles. And so you're not only getting just fine particulate matter that's clean, but it has these little toxic components that hitchhike onto it and attach to the particulate, and that goes in your lungs as well. It's much more hazardous than a lot of other types of pollution.
The risk for diesel, as I say, really comes from the utility of the engine. That while you may be in remote areas where the air is relatively clean, but diesels tend to be where you are. And people live near highways, and they use diesels for hauling their garbage, for moving them from one place to another, for hauling goods, for moving freight. Diesels tend to be where people are, regardless of whether you're in an urban area or a rural area. The concentrations tend to be much higher in the urban areas, but not necessarily that low in the rural areas, where it just becomes something that can be completely ignored. And we have now the technology in hand to make these engines as clean as anywhere in the world, much less any other engine that's out there.